Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day so far. Alright, today I want to talk about error checking. It's actually, I don't want to say it's a pet peeve, but it is a pet peeve of mine. Whenever I do any kind of functions in spreadsheets, I try to make sure that I have some sort of an error checking mechanism, because the last thing I want is to get like values, division by zero, all this other stuff. It just makes the sheet look shoddy in my opinion. So I like to put in error checking mechanisms. There are a lot of them in Google Sheets, but I'm going to actually cover five in this video. I'll deal with the fifth one because that one's a little bit more complicated, but I'll deal with the fifth one later on at the end. So I'm going to actually go over, let me see if I can write these out. Let me actually go over is NA, if NA, is error, if error. Okay, so those are the four, I call them the fundamental error checking mechanisms within Google Sheets, and let me go over a little bit about what they mean. Is NA tests whether it's not available, or if something is available or not available is probably a better way to do it. It throws up true or false, depending on what your parameters are. If the actual item is not available, then it throws up a true. If it is available, it throws up a false. I hope everybody got that one, because it can be kind of confusing when you're looking at something from a negative point of view. Is not available true, is not available, or is available false. It kind of boggles my mind. You have to get used to it. Now, is error is the same thing, however, it's much broader. Is NA only looks at where the NA, or the not available error message. Is error looks at all the different error messages, including hash value, hash division of zero, hash reference, hash num, and hash NA. So it is broader. So if you're specifically looking for NA, and NA is also, it's within itself a very specific error message, then you use NA. But if you're looking for any kind of an error message, then you use is error. Now, when I was using Excel, I was using, like I said, if is error and if is NA, or something to that variation. I haven't checked Excel in a while. What Google Sheets has done is they've actually combined them already. So you have now if NA, which is, I guess they call it a portmanteau, a combination of the if function and is NA. So you actually have a few arguments with this where you say, well, if it's NA, then you do this. If it's not NA, then you do that. And we'll go over that. The same thing with if error. It's an if function based on an error. So you basically say, if the error is this, then do that. If it is not this, then do that. I hope that makes sense. So you have the is NA, you have the if NA, which is the if argument of is NA. Then you have the if error and the is error, which is the combination of an if conditional function and if it's an error. Hopefully everybody got that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, and on the left here you see that we have a little matrix and a little array, and it has some errors in it. The formula in here is pretty straightforward. All I did was just do some quick mathematics. It's nothing problematic. However, as you can see, some of these don't quite work, and for different reasons. So I wanted to go through the different error mechanisms that we can go ahead and try for here. Now let's go over to this formula right here. As you can see, it's there. So let me try an is NA and show you what happens. So is NA, as you can see, it's already there, comes out to be a false, right? Why does it come out to be a false? Because really there's nothing wrong with the formula. It came up with a number, and is NA has to be false because there is no error message, there is no not available error message that was thrown up by this formula. Now here we have a formula that has an error in it. So let's go with is NA. You see this already also comes up false, and it's correct because this does not throw up an is NA error message. So it will come up as false. All right, let's go back. Now, let's try is error. It's going to do the same thing for this one, is error. It's going to throw up a false, as we've seen, right? For this one, it should throw up a true. Is error. See, it throws up a true. Why? Because, as I mentioned, is error covers a whole plethora of error messages, including the hash value that we saw. It will also come up for the division of zeros and all of those. It really is a catch-all. Now, of course, when we're doing this kind of mathematics, we want to see the numbers and not necessarily false or true, because false and true doesn't really help us. So what we do is we actually come up with an argument to say, okay, if this happens, then throw this, otherwise everything's cool. So this is where, let's go back. And this is where the if NA and if error comes up. All right, so let's go ahead and try the if NA. Again, you use this if you're looking for NA error specifically. If something is not available and you want to know it is not available, that's the only error message that you're looking for, then you'll go ahead and then you'll use if NA. So in this case, you can say that if NA takes multiple parameters, or takes 2 parameters. So if NA value is what we're looking for, this is what we're testing. So if there is an NA error, then you say not available. And remember, when you're dealing with putting strings, words in Google Sheets, make sure that you put them, encase them in quotation marks. I do believe that single quotation marks works as well. Just be consistent with whichever ones you use. All right, so then we go ahead and we see that this one should throw up as, not available, but it is available, so it's fine. Now, when it comes to the not available error message, you can't really do them with numerical calculations. It has to be like a VLOOKUP function, which I actually cover in another video, and I'll put the link in the description. But the VLOOKUP, where you're trying to find, let me actually do a quick thing here, equals VLOOKUP. And in this case, I'm going to be searching for, looking for this number in this array, right? F4, I always have to do that. Give me the third row, or third column, and this one I believe is going to be false. It should not throw up. It does throw up an A, is an A. Yes, because I didn't. Perfect. This actually works out beautifully. Because I did this rather quickly and I didn't think about it. Darn. Okay, good. I want to keep this there. So it didn't find the value of that number, so that actually threw up an NA error message. So in this case, let's take a look and see. If we go is NA, see, and now it comes up as true. That's when you get a really good value for putting in the is NA. You can actually see what happens. You can kind of check the error before you put something in, and then you can say, okay, hold on, wait a minute, let me check on something. But that's where is NA comes up. Now let me go back to if NA in this case. Now, if NA is different, again, let's take a look at what the second argument in this would be. Now, if we throw up an NA in this one, let's see, I want to make sure. Okay, got that there, yes. So then we're going to put in not available. Oops, I put in too many. So in this case, because we did throw up an is NA error message, or we did throw up an NA error message, whenever we put in if NA, it tells us, okay, so I've thrown up an is NA true. What do? We say it's not available. Now, in the case of this error message here, in this scenario, we can definitely go ahead and use if error. It's going to be roughly the same format, but we might change the message to show something else more useful, like, you know, error, like, okay, error, formula error, which is basically what that throws up. Okay. So when we go ahead and put it in this one, for example, and ideally you would already have this in the first cell and then just drop it down to make it a lot easier. But I wanted to actually, of course, show you specifically how this would work. If error, okay, that one. So value if error, formula error, or something like that. Close. See, it throws up formula error. And, you know, it's smart. Google Sheets will tell you how to correct it really automatically. So then we have this one, and that's how you know. And the same thing applies for this one as well. You just put it in, if error. Got that. Okay. Now, a word of advice, please. Whenever you're putting in error messages, please put in messages that are more useful. I've encountered situations where somebody has put in something like, you know, something's wrong, and I'm like, well, what's wrong? So if you can put in something more useful in the error message that's going to come up, that would be very helpful to your, you know, people you're working with, and to your future self. Your future self will thank you. So those are the 4 fundamental error messages or error checking mechanisms that I'm used to working. There is a 5th, as I mentioned. There's is error. It's not very well known, and it's not used very often. I am familiar with it, but here's the thing about is error. Is error actually returns true if the value is anything other than NA. Right? So that means that, you know, if it gets division of 0, NA, whatever, it comes up as true. For an NA, it comes up as false. While an is error returns true on all errors. So when you look at this, you're like, well, what's the point of is error when it's very much like is NA? If you need to specifically look for an NA error message, then use is NA. If you want to look for everything else, use if or is error. There's really no need, in my opinion, for is error, although if somebody has a particular use for it, let me know in the comments. In any case, thank you for your time. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, please. I can keep these going, and I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I hope this was useful to you. All right, have a good one.